I have to admit that I had a little bit of a nightmare after my guest Erling left that night. It was a late recording, and I dropped off to bed, and I had a dream that I had been prematurely buried, and instead of a single coffin, I was in a double, kind of like a queen bed, or a king bed, or a twin bed, only it was like a twin coffin, and I shared this coffin not with a loved one, but with a clown who had become hungry and began to bite. Hello, you're listening to the Flight of the 50 Fancies. And that was a song called, I hope I can get this right, it's doesn't sound like English to me, Liukalbanek, I don't know, sounds backwards or something. So, and it was actually by a band called Jefferson Sabbath, who I am currently in the studio with. Say hello, everybody. Hold on. Jefferson Sabbath is a power trio with 3 members. One is on... Forget it. Just let me let you introduce yourselves, and then I want to hear about that wild song.
Well, that song was... It came out of some very personal, dark feeling times for me. I was going through a lot of internal stuff that brought up a lot of things from past lives and personal childhood that I wasn't ready to face at the time, and now I have, through that song and other songs on that album, I got through a lot of that noise that percolated through me.
I'll tell you what, I've been in a lot of bands. I mean, Wife, Live, Privacy,
Life. Yeah,
Commendable Shame,
Chameleon Sinners,
Damn It. But you know what? I'll tell you.
The Goofballs.
The Goofballs, which I wasn't a part of, but they used a sample of one of my songs. I've just been all over the board, and let me tell you, this song is like big. This is big for me. I wasn't even experiencing the object of what he was experiencing, but you know, through like the music and through the feeling and through like the immune system of your musical being is like totally conducive with what you're feeling about other people writing. You feel it, and I really felt it. And I think if the rest of Jefferson Sabbath were alive to comment today, I think they would agree with me.
Yeah, I see you when you introduced us. We're sitting in the green room, and we heard that you introduced us as a trio, and we actually have to amend that statement now because actually just 3 weeks ago we lost our third member, Mr. Jeffrey Stardust. I'm sorry. I'm choking up a little bit.
So it's your time. You do what you need.
It's just so recent. He didn't calculate that there was a lizard den.
But more importantly, we're here now, and Freddie, buddy, my personal, the pterodactyl, as he liked to be called, as he was soaring through the twilight skies.
Thunderbird of the desert.
Yeah, I never knew a person like it. But you probably know all about this. You know, I'm sure you've listened to every single one of our releases prior to this interview, because it truly would be very stimulating for you if you knew what kind of questions to ask. So I won't go into those kind of details, because I'm sure you're already well informed.
I was just interested in your tour schedule. I hear you were in Pine Bluffs the other night. How did that go? I hear Pine Bluffs is rather nefarious.
So I was expecting from the name some pine or bluffs or something, but when we got there it's just ice.
Ice
everywhere.
and pine, baby. Ice and pine.
I didn't see the pine. I mean, some people, it was
like
around Christmas time. I mean, people had trees in their homes, but it was growing outside of the homes, like a sea of ice. When we were landing, we got caught in an ice storm that they said was, I think, a numerical grouping 5 ice storm. I'm not an iceologist. I'm a rock musician. I don't know, but they told me that that's not an ice storm that you want to be in. So it was a good thing that we were just landing. Yeah, I mean, I could hear it from the motel, Pine Bluffs Inn.
After that crazy van tried to kill us a couple of years back, now we don't stay at any hotels except for the underwater ones. I went down to the subway tunnel where he was living at the time, and with a couple of other communal members, as he put it, and knocked on the piece of wood. It was supposed to be his door, and nobody answered. And anyway, I walked in, and all I know is there was what looked like. Sure enough, Jeffrey was. I mean, he had clamps on his ears, pulling them down, and he had like gigantic ears, so it looked like so weird. It looked like he had horns for sake. And he was on this. He like had tied himself, screaming like I am future centaur. I'm a future centaur, over and over again. And
He went on for hours like that.
yeah, and it would be, I don't know. He had like a thing about animals and stuff, which we kind of incorporated a little bit. But
I remember he was going out with that girl. You remember Stacy Barracuda? She and him came by the studio one time late. He was all hopped up on PCB, some form of something that he was told to inject directly into his earlobe. I mean, he already had those huge ears.
yeah,
He put that stuff in his ears. I swear his ears turned bright green for a second. And then the rest of the night, he was on those keys, like, he was latched on, going crazy, like a little insect, without a saddle, just playing these parts. I mean, the man was, what can I say? I mean, he was Jefferson Stardust.
What's the inspiration behind the lyrics to that song that we heard earlier in the broadcast?
all comes from Og Vorbis. I think where it really comes from, through the phone book, and you look at people's names, like people with weird names, and take the names, and they take all those letters and switch them all around, and that's how we came up with the name Jefferson Sabbath.
Yeah.
That's how I remember it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, we get asked a lot from different people, they think it's Black Airplane, Jefferson Sabbath,
Yeah.
To that type of connection. We didn't even think about that till we were asked one time in an interview. The name Jefferson Sabbath was more of it came from a dream that we all shared one night. We had done some mescaline together, and we were reeling from.
I was just gonna say I injected a bunch of Gila Monster venom before.
Yes, yeah.
That's probably why my memory is just so
yeah.
so.
But this dream, it was a mystical experience. We all had we were at Jeffrey Stardust's house. This was around the time when he was getting very heavily into certain mystical cults, I guess you would call them. He would talk about the sun a lot and different gods. I can't remember all the names, but we were all on a very tuned in wavelength, and we did this mescaline. And we all had this dream where Thomas Jefferson was delivering to us a sermon. It was a Sabbath day sermon. It was Jefferson Sabbath, and he was telling us, warning us really about the dangers of, letting yourselves get too wrapped up in whatever's going on around you and kind of limiting your own experience and different. There was a lot of other things that he said that seemed very strange to me at the time that then came to be.
Yeah, things came true. He's talking about and in fact in the dream I had never taken anybody seriously who had talked about this jazz, but he was talking about like a weird cult who he wanted to be a part of, and like worship some kind of like weird fungoid, like cannibal, and there was like a ship on their bolt.
He was hanging around Boston a lot, I remember.
And something about, but I did see a devil worshipping god in the vision, and I know he had horns, man, like sharp looking hand nails, and I could just tell he seemed like godly. I could just tell he worshipped something bad, maybe not a devil, but maybe like a imp or something, a beast, some and that really opened me up, man. Like my mind is like opened up like a flower, like I'm like sucking up all the rays that I used to be part of and didn't know, and he just rained it on me. And when he died 3 weeks ago, I don't care, but I don't know
now.
And so we're here and play another song someday.
I'm hoping today is that day, because I love that whole idea that though the petal has fallen, flower yet blooms, and I would just love to hear how you two have bloomed since tragedy.
You're still my friend. You're a good friend. You're always
and probably play some other songs and add that, put it together, and probably, you might call him down, you might call it call it whatever you want.
I mean, to get back to your question on the lyrics of the song that we just heard at the beginning of the interview, I would like to make reference, there's, in the song, you probably heard, where I sing, "Make my night a shining one for..."
I think you talk about the...
Your eyes are open, just close your eyes.
"Make my night a shining one, for all our eyes are open. There is now a little being on your shoulder spoken." Those words are actually about my uncle, who came to live with us when I was very young. He was older than my father by 10 years or so. He was about, he was early 60s, and he would go on and on about these strange twinkly things that he would see at night when he would shut his lights off. He would look out his windows and see these orbs of kind of shimmering light. And I was young and kind of impressionable, and I didn't have maybe the skepticism that I might have now. And so I would stay up with him some nights, and we would look out the window, looking for these orbs, and I never actually saw them. He said that maybe they would only come when he was by himself. I don't know. My uncle, actually, he died some months later because of a brain disorder that he had. I don't know if that was related to the lights that he was seeing or not, but in that song, make my night a shining one, I'm kind of paying homage to that very special time with my uncle and his possibly delusional visions of little night lights.
I'm a music guy, first and foremost. Give me the meat, I'm gonna find the bread for it. I'm gonna find the condiments for it. That's where I come in. That's where I'm like ketchup, man. So honestly, to answer your question, I came from where I came from, and we were all there when we wanted to be in spirit and in writing. And I can't answer that question, honestly. I don't think I really, it just happens, Music isn't like a typhoon, it's like a volcano. It's coming from like deep, the magma and lava and all that flowing, hot, caustic, really hot man, that's like you, man, at the core of what it is to be you, in the sense that we're all tapping from that same magma vein, same vein. When someone asks me a question like that, I'm just automatically inclined to say, pfft. And, I'm not going to speak for everybody in the group. A lot of the stuff I would just play, it wasn't even like the instrument I was playing, I was like a bass player, and, I wound up with non-bass guitars. Well, some nights, we would get so zooted and frog up all the time, and we'd get all frothy. There was one show I remember playing, it was actually this song, the very song you heard, and I was supposed to play an upright, electric triangle, but they didn't have an electric triangle. So what I had to do, I had to make a triangle out of wood, out of a bunch of drumsticks. That just got so angry because by the time I was done making this thing, people had been gone for a while. I'm pretty sure everyone was only there just to see Stacy Barracuda anyway. That's for sure. But I'm getting off topic. What the song's really about is the persistence of the spiritual nature of man's ability to access the spiritual atmosphere and beyond, going into spiritual space, astral Sputnik, sending satellites out, i.e. alien, all kinds of shit out there. Let me tell you, I've seen some things, and it's about that, and it's about humankind's endearing motives for ravaging the landscape of our psychic world. It's about escape, and it's about redemption, and it's about twisting the knobs of the amp of life, man, and shaping the sound out and getting it out. It'll hit you like a geyser, knock you flat when you really understand what it is to understand what it is to know that you are my guitar string, in the sense that I play you. We're entertainers. We're playing the instruments, man, but we're really playing people. We're playing the people, and we're playing their beliefs, their aspirations, and their ability to accept and explore cosmic terrain outside of their skull. It's magic. That's what it's about, man. The song's about magic.
Now it's time for me to hear what you think the song is about, Jake.
Well, Peter, that song came out of a very turbulent time when I just broke up with a girlfriend that I had been going out with for some time by the name of Martha Masters. I got kicked out of the apartment that I was living in because I refused to clean dishes, even my own. I will not do it. It's just, it's not something that I feel comfortable doing. Disgusts me, actually. So my roommates couldn't cope with my boundaries, so I got kicked out. And then that was actually when I met Jeffrey Stardust. He invited me to form a band with him. We got together. He showed me some riffs that he'd been working on, and then I started to write the lyrics that would become this song that we just heard, and it just kind of came out of me. There was all this time that it was all this crazy stuff was going on, and it just all culminated and was kind of funneled into this little ravine that then came out as this song, and then through using the riffs that Jeffrey wrote, and we came up with this album, and I think it's I'm very proud of it. It's very close to my heart, and I think it was a kind of very special mixing of our spirits and our energies in that moment when everything was just kind of like a whooshing tornado of vibes that were all congealing into this thing that was kind of, we didn't know what was going to happen, but it had this feeling, this gravity to it that was just pulling us along, and it was this kind of irresistible pull, like a tide pulling us out to sea into this ocean of ideas.
I wanted to thank Jefferson Sabbath for coming into the studio today, and now they're gone. This is the letter portion of the radio show where I read letters that were sent to me by careful listeners. This letter was received today by me, and it was sent by a resident of India named, let me see here, Ganganatha Jha. I hope I'm getting that name right. And he sent me a few texts from a rather long work, apparently, which I don't have in front of me. I just have these 2 short texts from a book that he's working on called The Compendium on Reality. Okay, interesting. And these are texts 2517 to 2518, so we'll just see how let me just make sure I got the right. So it says, by these same arguments may be rejected the view that there is embellishment of the object and of both. From all this it follows that there can be no room for the view that there is manifestation of what is eternal, and from this it also follows that there can be no room for any distinctions that are made on the basis of such manifestations, such distinctions as those of long, short, order of sequence, and so forth. Thank you for that letter, Mr. Jha. I'll try to keep that in mind for next time. Sorry about that. I guess I maybe contradicted that point in my last show. So finally, I know that Flight of the 50 Fancies is an ad-free experience, but I just wanted to thank Healthy Boy brand mushroom flavored soy sauce for their generous financial assistance towards this broadcast. I wouldn't have allowed it if I didn't myself love Healthy Boy. It is my favorite kind of soy sauce. I put it on my chow fun, I put it on my lo mein, I put it on my chow mein. They make a mean soy sauce, and I wanted to thank Healthy Boy in particular, and in general I wanted to just thank their manufacturer, Yanwal Yun Company Limited, to whom you can write if you simply put on your envelope 12/8 Mu 6 Rama 2 Road, Fachin, Samutsakorn, 74,000, Thailand. Or if you want to call them up, you can just tap 662-674-79909, extension 389, or to fax them, 662-674-9734, or you can email them at exp@healthyboy.com, or you can check out their website at www.healthyboy.com. Questions or comments? Try qc@eastlandfood.com. And just wanted to thank Healthy Boy brand again. Can I have my Healthy Boy?